Samuel Richardson had maintained perfect dental health for 60 years with minimal professional intervention. The 62-year-old retired developer visited his dentist twice yearly for routine cleanings and had never needed major dental work. But after switching to Dr. Michael Hartwell's upscale Scottsdale practice, Samuel suddenly required constant repairs, crowns, and expensive procedures. When Samuel finally investigated his dental records, he discovered Dr. Hartwell had been deliberately damaging his teeth during routine visits to generate treatment revenue. This is the story of how a health-conscious retiree exposed a systematic medical fraud scheme that had victimized dozens of wealthy patients and generated millions in fraudulent treatment charges. By the time Samuel was finished, Dr. Hartwell faced criminal charges, and Samuel had uncovered one of the largest dental malpractice conspiracies in Arizona history. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. You'll want to hear every detail of how Samuel turned his suspicions into evidence and brought down a dentist who was literally breaking his patients' teeth for profit. Samuel Richardson had built a successful real estate development business in Phoenix over 30 years, accumulating $4.8 million in property investments and retirement savings by age 62. After selling his company in 2021, he moved to an upscale Scottsdale community designed for affluent retirees who valued premium healthcare and lifestyle amenities. Samuel's approach to health maintenance was methodical and preventative. He exercised daily, maintained excellent nutrition, and visited healthcare providers regularly for monitoring and prevention rather than treatment. His dental health exemplified this approach. 60 years of consistent oral hygiene and professional cleanings had resulted in minimal dental work and no major problems. "I've been fortunate with my teeth," Samuel often told friends. "Good genetics and consistent care have kept me out of the dentist chair for anything serious." His dental history supported this claim. Over 6 decades, Samuel had required only 3 minor fillings and routine professional cleanings every 6 months. His previous dentist in Phoenix, Dr. Janet Martinez, had consistently praised Samuel's oral health and minimal treatment needs. "Mr. Richardson, you're one of my easiest patients," Dr. Martinez had said during his final visit before moving to Scottsdale. "Just keep up your excellent oral hygiene routine." When Samuel relocated to Scottsdale in early 2022, he researched dental practices that served the affluent retiree community. Dr. Michael Hartwell's Premium Dental Wellness Center marketed itself specifically to wealthy seniors who wanted comprehensive dental care and cosmetic dentistry services. Dr. Hartwell specializes in maintaining optimal dental health for successful retirees, the practice's marketing materials explained. "We understand that active seniors need dental care that supports their lifestyle and appearance." The practice's Scottsdale location was impressive, a modern facility with state-of-the-art equipment and amenities designed to appeal to affluent patients. Dr. Hartwell himself appeared knowledgeable and concerned about providing comprehensive care. "Mr. Richardson, I'm committed to helping you maintain excellent dental health throughout your retirement," Dr. Hartwell explained during Samuel's initial consultation in March 2022. "At your age, preventative care becomes even more important." "I've been fortunate to avoid major dental problems," Samuel replied. "I'm hoping to continue that pattern. With proper monitoring and intervention, we can definitely achieve that goal." Samuel felt confident that Dr. Hartwell would provide the same conservative, preventative approach to dental care that had served him well for 60 years. He was completely wrong. Samuel's first routine cleaning appointment with Dr. Hartwell in May 2022 produced unexpected results. After examining Samuel's teeth, Dr. Hartwell identified several areas of concern that required immediate attention. "Mr. Richardson, I'm seeing some early decay in your upper molars," Dr. Hartwell reported. "Nothing serious yet, but we should address it before it becomes a bigger problem." "That's surprising," Samuel replied. "My previous dentist never mentioned any decay issues. Sometimes problems develop quickly, especially as we age. Your previous dentist may have missed these early signs." Dr. Hartwell recommended immediate treatment for 3 small cavities, plus a deep cleaning procedure to address what he described as developing gum disease. "I don't understand," Samuel said. "I've never had gum problems before. Gum disease can develop gradually and accelerate with age. Early intervention is crucial for preventing more serious problems." The treatment cost $2,400, significantly more than Samuel's typical dental expenses, but Dr. Hartwell explained that comprehensive care required investment in preventive treatment. Think of this as insurance against future problems, Dr. Hartwell explained. Spending money now will save you from more expensive treatments later. Samuel agreed to the treatment, trusting Dr. Hartwell's professional expertise and commitment to preventative care. But Samuel's next appointment 3 months later revealed additional problems that seemed to appear overnight. "Mr. Richardson, I'm concerned about what I'm seeing," Dr. Hartwell announced during Samuel's August 2022 visit. "The decay has progressed more rapidly than I expected, and you're developing some cracks in your posterior teeth. How is that possible? I've been following all your recommendations for oral hygiene. Sometimes age-related changes accelerate dental deterioration despite excellent care. We need to act quickly to prevent more serious damage." Dr. Hartwell recommended 2 crowns and a root canal procedure with total costs approaching $8,000. "This seems like a lot of work for someone who's never had dental problems," Samuel observed. "That's exactly why we need to be aggressive now. Your history of good dental health makes these developments particularly concerning." Samuel agreed to the treatment, but he was beginning to question why his dental health had deteriorated so rapidly after switching to Dr. Hartwell's practice. The pattern continued through the remainder of 2022, with each appointment revealing new problems that required immediate, expensive treatment. By December 2022, Samuel had spent $18,000 on dental treatments in less than 8 months, more than he had spent on dental care in the previous 15 years combined. Each visit to Dr. Hartwell's office resulted in discovering new problems that required immediate intervention. "Mr. Richardson, I'm seeing some concerning developments in your bite alignment," Dr. Hartwell announced during Samuel's December appointment. "The recent dental work seems to have created some balance issues that we need to address." "What kind of balance issues?" "Your crowns aren't aligning properly with your natural teeth, creating stress points that could lead to fractures. We need to adjust your bite with additional crown work." Dr. Hartwell recommended replacing 4 additional teeth with crowns to optimize bite alignment and prevent future problems. The estimated cost was $12,000. "This is getting very expensive," Samuel said. "Is all this work really necessary?" "Mr. Richardson, I understand your concern about costs, but dental problems compound quickly if not addressed properly. The work we're doing now will prevent much more expensive problems later. But I never had any of these issues before." That's common with age-related dental changes. Problems that were dormant for decades can suddenly become active and require immediate attention. Samuel reluctantly agreed to the additional treatment, but his suspicions about Dr. Hartwell's recommendations were growing stronger. The most troubling aspect was the timing of problems. Samuel would arrive for routine appointments feeling fine, but Dr. Hartwell consistently discovered urgent issues that required immediate, expensive treatment. "It's almost like the problems appear overnight," Samuel mentioned to his wife Helen during dinner after another expensive appointment. "Maybe you should get a second opinion," Helen suggested. "Dr. Hartwell says that would delay treatment and allow problems to worsen." "But this doesn't seem normal, Samuel. You've never had dental problems before." Helen's concerns echoed Samuel's growing unease about the pattern of treatments. But Dr. Hartwell's professional credentials and persuasive explanations had convinced Samuel to continue following his recommendations. In January 2023, Samuel's suspicions reached a breaking point when Dr. Hartwell recommended the most expensive treatment yet. "Mr. Richardson, I'm afraid we have a serious situation developing," Dr. Hartwell announced during Samuel's January 2023 appointment. "The bite alignment issues we've been addressing have created stress fractures in several of your teeth." Stress fractures? Microscopic cracks that will eventually cause tooth failure if not addressed immediately. We need to place crowns on 6 additional teeth to prevent complete tooth loss. The recommended treatment would cost $24,000 and require multiple appointments over several months. "Dr. Hartwell, this doesn't make sense," Samuel said. "I've spent $18,000 in the past year, and my problems seem to be getting worse instead of better. That's not uncommon during comprehensive dental restoration. We're addressing decades of accumulated damage and age-related deterioration. But I never had any damage or deterioration before. Sometimes problems that have been developing slowly suddenly accelerate. The important thing is that we're catching these issues before they become dental emergencies." Samuel felt increasingly uncomfortable with Dr. Hartwell's explanations, but the dentist's professional authority and detailed descriptions of dental problems made it difficult to challenge his recommendations. "I need to think about this," Samuel said. "Mr. Richardson, I strongly advise against delaying treatment. These fractures will worsen quickly, and you could lose these teeth permanently if we wait." "I understand, but this is a significant investment. Think of it as protecting your ability to eat and speak properly for the rest of your life. These aren't cosmetic treatments. They're necessary to preserve your dental function." After the appointment, Samuel decided to seek a second opinion before proceeding with such extensive and expensive treatment. He made an appointment with Dr. Patricia Chang, a well-regarded dentist in Phoenix, who specialized in comprehensive dental care for older adults. What Dr. Chang discovered during Samuel's consultation would expose Dr. Hartwell's systematic fraud. Dr. Patricia Chang's examination of Samuel's teeth in February 2023 revealed disturbing evidence that challenged everything Dr. Hartwell had told him about his dental condition. "Mr. Richardson, I'm seeing some very unusual patterns in your recent dental work," Dr. Chang reported after completing her examination. "What kind of patterns?" "The damage that led to your crown placements doesn't appear to be natural decay or normal wear. The pattern suggests deliberate damage that occurred during dental procedures." "What do you mean by deliberate damage?" "Someone used dental instruments to create fractures and decay in healthy tooth structure. This wasn't caused by natural deterioration or poor oral hygiene." Dr. Chang showed Samuel high-resolution images of his teeth that revealed precise tool marks and damage patterns inconsistent with natural dental problems. "These marks were made by dental drills and other instruments," Dr. Chang explained. "They're too precise and uniform to be natural decay." "Are you saying Dr. Hartwell damaged my teeth deliberately?" "I'm saying that someone with dental instruments created the problems that led to your expensive treatments. The timing and pattern of damage suggests systematic sabotage rather than natural dental deterioration." Dr. Chang's analysis was even more damning when she compared Samuel's current condition to his previous dental records from Dr. Martinez in Phoenix. "Mr. Richardson, your dental health was excellent as recently as 18 months ago. The extensive damage you've experienced since then is not consistent with natural aging or deterioration. So Dr. Hartwell has been creating problems to justify treatments? Based on what I'm seeing, that appears to be the case. This level of deterioration in such a short time period, combined with the precise tool marks, suggests systematic dental fraud." Dr. Chang recommended that Samuel contact dental regulatory authorities and consider legal action against Dr. Hartwell for medical malpractice and fraud. "This isn't just poor dental care," Dr. Chang explained. "This appears to be criminal behavior designed to generate treatment revenue by deliberately damaging patients' teeth." Samuel felt a combination of rage and relief. Rage at Dr. Hartwell's betrayal and relief that his suspicions had been validated by professional evidence. But confronting Dr. Hartwell would require more evidence than one dentist's opinion. Samuel knew that challenging a medical professional's conduct required systematic evidence gathering and expert documentation. His business background had taught him that successful litigation against professionals required comprehensive proof of wrongdoing. Working with Dr. Chang, Samuel developed a plan to gather evidence of Dr. Hartwell's systematic fraud before confronting him or involving regulatory authorities. The first step was obtaining complete copies of Samuel's dental records from Dr. Hartwell's office, including X-rays, treatment notes, and billing records. Samuel requested these documents, citing his right to access his own medical records. "I'm considering additional treatment options and need complete documentation of my dental history," Samuel explained to Dr. Hartwell's office staff. The records revealed disturbing patterns when analyzed by Dr. Chang and a forensic dental expert she recommended. "Mr. Richardson, these records document systematic fraud," explained Dr. Robert Kim, a forensic dentist who specialized in dental malpractice cases. Dr. Hartwell's treatment notes describe problems that couldn't have developed naturally in the timeframes indicated. "What specifically indicates fraud?" "The progression of decay and damage he documented is physically impossible without deliberate intervention. Natural dental deterioration doesn't follow these patterns." Dr. Kim's analysis identified specific appointments where Dr. Hartwell had likely created damage during routine procedures, then discovered problems during subsequent visits that required expensive treatment. He was using routine cleaning appointments to create problems, then scheduling follow-up appointments to fix damage he had deliberately caused, Dr. Kim explained. The financial analysis was equally revealing. Samuel had spent $47,000 on dental treatments in 18 months, compared to $3,000 over the previous decade. The billing patterns showed systematic overcharging and unnecessary procedure coding. But Samuel needed evidence that Dr. Hartwell's fraud extended beyond his individual case to establish a pattern of systematic patient abuse. He began researching other patients who had received treatment at Dr. Hartwell's practice. Samuel's investigation into Dr. Hartwell's other patients revealed that his experience wasn't isolated. The dentist appeared to be operating a systematic fraud scheme targeting wealthy retirees throughout the Scottsdale area. Through online review sites and community forums, Samuel identified several other patients who had experienced similar patterns of escalating dental problems after switching to Dr. Hartwell's practice. "I was happy with my dental health for years, then suddenly needed constant expensive treatments after starting with Dr. Hartwell," wrote Margaret Foster, a 68-year-old retiree, in an online review. "Dr. Hartwell always finds problems that require immediate expensive procedures," reported Thomas Chen, a 71-year-old former executive. "My dental costs have tripled since switching to his practice." Samuel contacted these patients directly and discovered that their experiences mirrored his own excellent dental health, followed by rapid deterioration, requiring extensive, expensive treatment after beginning care with Dr. Hartwell. "It's the same pattern every time," explained Margaret Foster during a phone conversation with Samuel. "Routine appointments where he discovers urgent problems that need immediate, expensive fixes." Samuel organized a meeting with 7 other patients who had experienced similar problems. Together, they compared dental records and treatment patterns. "Dr. Hartwell has defrauded all of us using the same techniques," Samuel concluded after reviewing the evidence. "He's been systematically damaging our teeth to generate treatment revenue." The group had collectively spent more than $340,000 on treatments from Dr. Hartwell over the past 2 years. Money that represented fraudulent charges for problems the dentist had deliberately created. But confronting Dr. Hartwell would require involving dental regulatory authorities and law enforcement agencies with jurisdiction over medical fraud. Samuel contacted the Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners and the FBI's Healthcare Fraud Unit to report Dr. Hartwell's systematic patient abuse. Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners investigator Lisa Rodriguez reviewed Samuel's evidence and immediately opened a formal investigation into Dr. Hartwell's practice. "Mr. Richardson, what you've documented appears to be systematic healthcare fraud," Rodriguez explained during their initial meeting. "Dr. Hartwell's treatment patterns suggest deliberate patient abuse for financial gain." The investigation expanded when FBI healthcare fraud agent Michael Torres joined the case after reviewing evidence of insurance fraud and interstate patient referrals. Dr. Hartwell's operation involves federal crimes including healthcare fraud, insurance fraud, and potentially racketeering, Agent Torres explained. "The systematic nature of his patient abuse makes this a federal case." Federal authorities obtained warrants to examine Dr. Hartwell's practice records, financial accounts, and patient files. The investigation revealed evidence of fraud extending far beyond Samuel's individual case. "Dr. Hartwell has been operating this fraud scheme for at least 5 years, Agent Torres reported after reviewing practice records. He's systematically targeted wealthy retirees and generated millions in fraudulent treatment charges. The investigation identified 47 patients who had experienced similar patterns of rapid dental deterioration requiring expensive treatment after beginning care with Dr. Hartwell. The total fraudulent charges exceeded $2.8 million over 5 years. Most disturbing, investigators discovered evidence that Dr. Hartwell had been deliberately damaging patients' teeth during routine procedures using techniques designed to create problems that would require expensive treatment. He was using dental instruments to create microscopic fractures and damage during cleaning appointments, explained forensic dental expert Dr. Jennifer Walsh. Patients would leave feeling fine, but the damage would worsen over time and require expensive repairs. Dr. Hartwell's fraud scheme was sophisticated enough to avoid immediate detection while generating maximum treatment revenue from each targeted patient. Federal authorities decided to conduct a controlled investigation to gather evidence of Dr. Hartwell's fraudulent practices before making arrests. Working with federal authorities, Samuel agreed to participate in a controlled investigation that would document Dr. Hartwell's fraudulent practices through surveillance and recording equipment. "Mr. Richardson, we need to capture Dr. Hartwell in the act of creating dental problems during routine procedures," Agent Torres explained. "Your cooperation will help us gather evidence for prosecution." The plan required Samuel to schedule routine appointments while wearing hidden recording devices that would document Dr. Hartwell's comments and procedures. Samuel made an appointment for a routine cleaning, arriving at Dr. Hartwell's office with surveillance equipment provided by federal agents. "Mr. Richardson, good to see you," Dr. Hartwell said during the appointment. "How have you been feeling since our last visit?" "Fine, no problems or pain." "That's good, but we'll need to check for any developing issues that might not be causing symptoms yet." The hidden recording equipment captured Dr. Hartwell's examination and comments as he identified new problems that required immediate treatment. "I'm seeing some concerning developments in your bite alignment again," Dr. Hartwell announced. "The crowns we placed last year seem to be creating pressure points that could lead to fractures." "I haven't noticed any problems." "That's common. Damage often develops without symptoms until it becomes serious. We should address these issues now before they require emergency treatment." But the surveillance equipment also captured something more disturbing: video evidence of Dr. Hartwell using instruments to create deliberate damage during the cleaning procedure. "He's using a dental drill to create microscopic fractures in healthy tooth structure," Agent Torres observed while monitoring the surveillance feed. "This is deliberate sabotage." The recording captured Dr. Hartwell systematically damaging Samuel's teeth while explaining that he was performing routine cleaning and examination procedures. "Mr. Richardson, I'm finding some areas of weakness that we'll need to monitor closely," Dr. Hartwell said while actually creating the problems he was describing. The surveillance evidence provided definitive proof of Dr. Hartwell's systematic fraud and patient abuse. Federal agents were prepared to make arrests and search Dr. Hartwell's practice. The federal raid on Dr. Hartwell's practice occurred on a Tuesday morning, with FBI agents and dental board investigators simultaneously searching the office and arresting Dr. Hartwell and his office manager. "Dr. Michael Hartwell, you're under arrest for healthcare fraud, insurance fraud, and systematic patient abuse," Agent Torres announced as federal agents entered the dental office. The search revealed extensive evidence of Dr. Hartwell's fraud scheme, including patient files documenting systematic overtreatment, financial records showing $2.8 million in fraudulent charges, insurance fraud documentation, equipment used to deliberately damage patients' teeth, training materials describing techniques for creating dental problems. Dr. Hartwell had systematized his fraud operation, Agent Torres explained during a press conference. He developed specific techniques for creating dental problems that would require expensive treatment while appearing to be natural deterioration. The investigation also revealed that Dr. Hartwell's office manager, Susan Martinez, had been complicit in the fraud scheme by helping process fraudulent insurance claims and managing billing for unnecessary treatments. "This wasn't just individual malpractice," explained Arizona Attorney General Patricia Williams. "This was organized healthcare fraud designed to exploit elderly patients' trust in medical professionals." Dr. Hartwell faced federal charges including healthcare fraud, 47 counts, insurance fraud, 23 counts, wire fraud, 18 counts, conspiracy to commit fraud, systematic patient abuse. The charges carried potential sentences totaling more than 200 years in federal prison. But Dr. Hartwell's arrest was only the beginning of Samuel's fight for justice and compensation. Dr. Hartwell's trial began 8 months after his arrest, with federal prosecutors presenting overwhelming evidence of his systematic fraud scheme. Samuel testified as the key witness, describing how Dr. Hartwell had systematically damaged his teeth to generate treatment revenue. "Dr. Hartwell exploited my trust in medical professionals," Samuel told the jury. "He deliberately damaged my teeth during routine appointments, then charged me thousands of dollars to repair damage he had caused." The prosecution presented surveillance footage of Dr. Hartwell creating dental problems during Samuel's appointment, along with expert testimony explaining how the damage was deliberately inflicted. Dr. Hartwell used dental instruments to create microscopic fractures and decay in healthy tooth structure, testified forensic dental expert Dr. Robert Kim. This was systematic sabotage designed to generate treatment revenue. Other victims testified about similar experiences, establishing a pattern of fraud targeting wealthy elderly patients. Dr. Hartwell specifically targeted affluent retirees who could afford expensive treatment and wouldn't question medical authority, explained FBI agent Torres. Dr. Hartwell's defense attorney attempted to characterize the charges as aggressive treatment rather than deliberate fraud. My client provided comprehensive dental care to patients who needed extensive treatment, defense attorney James Patterson argued. These charges represent a misunderstanding of legitimate dental procedures. But the evidence against Dr. Hartwell was overwhelming. The surveillance footage clearly showed him deliberately damaging patients' teeth while claiming to perform routine procedures. The financial evidence demonstrated systematic overcharging and unnecessary treatment that had generated millions in fraudulent revenue. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours before returning guilty verdicts on all counts. Dr. Hartwell was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $4.7 million in restitution to his victims. He also lost his dental license permanently and faced additional civil liability. Samuel filed civil malpractice lawsuits against Dr. Hartwell, his practice, and the professional liability insurance companies that had covered his fraudulent treatments. Dr. Hartwell's systematic patient abuse represents one of the most egregious cases of medical malpractice in Arizona history, Samuel's attorney explained. The deliberate nature of his crimes warrants maximum civil penalties. The malpractice insurance companies initially attempted to deny coverage, arguing that Dr. Hartwell's deliberate criminal acts weren't covered under professional liability policies. Insurance policies don't cover intentional criminal behavior, argued defense attorney Patricia Stevens. But Samuel's legal team successfully demonstrated that the insurance companies had benefited from Dr. Hartwell's fraud scheme by collecting premiums while he generated artificial treatment volume. These companies profited from Dr. Hartwell's systematic fraud, Samuel's attorney argued. They can't collect premiums based on fraudulent treatment volume, then deny coverage when the fraud is exposed. The insurance settlements totaled $2.8 million, compensating Samuel and other victims for fraudulent treatments, additional corrective dental work, and pain and suffering. Dr. Hartwell's personal assets, including his practice equipment and real estate investments, were liquidated to pay additional restitution to victims. Samuel recovered approximately $180,000 in direct compensation for the fraudulent treatments he had received, plus additional damages for corrective dental work required to repair Dr. Hartwell's sabotage. But the most important aspect of Samuel's victory was the systematic changes his case inspired in dental regulation and patient protection. Samuel's case led to comprehensive reforms in Arizona dental regulation and patient protection procedures. The Richardson Patient Protection Act was passed by the Arizona legislature, creating stronger oversight of dental practices and enhanced penalties for systematic patient abuse. Samuel Richardson's case exposed vulnerabilities in our professional oversight systems, explained Arizona Senator Patricia Williams, who sponsored the legislation. We needed stronger protections for elderly patients who are particularly vulnerable to medical fraud. The new law required mandatory second opinions for extensive dental treatment plans, enhanced background checks for dental practitioners, regular practice audits for dentists serving elderly populations, stronger penalties for systematic patient abuse. The Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners implemented new procedures for investigating patient complaints and identifying patterns of potential fraud. Dr. Hartwell's fraud scheme operated for 5 years before being detected, explained Board Director Michael Torres. We needed better systems for identifying systematic patient abuse before it affects dozens of victims. Federal healthcare authorities used Samuel's case to develop new protocols for investigating dental fraud and protecting elderly patients from systematic abuse. The Richardson case taught us that dental fraud can be highly sophisticated and difficult to detect, explained FBI Healthcare Fraud Director Sarah Kim. We developed new investigation techniques based on patterns Samuel identified. Insurance companies implemented new procedures for detecting unusual treatment patterns and protecting patients from fraudulent procedures. Samuel's case showed us that systematic fraud can generate artificial treatment volume that appears legitimate on individual claims, explained insurance industry analyst Dr. Jennifer Walsh. We needed better pattern recognition systems. Samuel's experience became required study material in dental schools and healthcare fraud investigation programs nationwide. His systematic approach to identifying and documenting Dr. Hartwell's fraud provided a template for recognizing similar schemes. The Richardson case demonstrates how patients can become advocates for their own protection, explained Dental Education Director Dr. Robert Chen at Arizona State University. Samuel's investigation techniques are now taught to dental students as examples of patient empowerment. Medical professional organizations invited Samuel to speak about his experience and educate healthcare providers about the importance of ethical patient care. Samuel Richardson's story reminds us that patient trust is sacred, Samuel explained during a presentation to the American Dental Association. When medical professionals exploit that trust for financial gain, they violate the fundamental principles of healthcare. Law enforcement agencies incorporated lessons from Samuel's case into their training programs for investigating healthcare fraud. The Richardson investigation showed us how systematic medical fraud operates, explained FBI training coordinator Dr. Patricia Martinez. Samuel's evidence-gathering techniques have become standard protocol for similar cases. Consumer advocacy organizations used Samuel's experience to educate elderly patients about protecting themselves from medical fraud. Samuel proved that patients can challenge medical authority when treatment patterns don't make sense, explained Elder Rights Coalition Director Margaret Foster. His case empowers other elderly patients to question suspicious medical recommendations. The ongoing educational impact of Samuel's case continued expanding as more institutions recognized the value of his experience for training healthcare professionals and protecting vulnerable patients. 3 years after exposing Dr. Hartwell's fraud, Samuel had successfully restored his dental health and transformed his experience into advocacy work that protected other elderly patients from similar abuse. The corrective dental work took 18 months, but my teeth are now healthier than they've been in years, Samuel reported during a recent interview. Dr. Chang was able to repair most of the damage Dr. Hartwell caused. Samuel established the Richardson Foundation for Patient Protection, which funds advocacy services for elderly healthcare fraud victims and supports research into preventing systematic medical abuse. I want to ensure that no other elderly patient experiences what Dr. Hartwell put me through, Samuel explained during the foundation's launch. Healthcare fraud is a crime that exploits trust and vulnerability. The foundation had helped more than 150 healthcare fraud victims recover damages and receive corrective treatment for abuse they had suffered from unethical medical professionals. Samuel's personal healing had progressed significantly through his advocacy work and the justice achieved through Dr. Hartwell's prosecution. Exposing Dr. Hartwell's crimes gave me a sense of control and purpose, Samuel reflected. Instead of being a victim of medical fraud, I became an advocate for patient protection. Samuel had also developed meaningful relationships with other healthcare fraud survivors, creating a support network that extended far beyond his individual experience. Samuel showed all of us that we could fight back against medical professionals who exploit our trust, said Thomas Chen, another Dr. Hartwell victim who worked with the foundation. His courage gave us courage. Dr. Hartwell remained in federal prison, serving his 18-year sentence with no possibility of early release. Multiple appeals had been unsuccessful, and he faced additional civil lawsuits from victims who continued discovering evidence of his systematic fraud. Samuel's dental health had been completely restored through corrective procedures performed by ethical dental professionals who volunteered their services through the Richardson Foundation. The impact of Samuel Richardson's case extended far beyond his individual experience, creating permanent changes in how healthcare fraud is investigated, prosecuted, and prevented across the United States. Federal healthcare authorities had incorporated lessons from Samuel's investigation into their standard protocols for examining suspicious medical practices. The Richardson method of systematic evidence gathering had become required training for healthcare fraud investigators nationwide. Samuel Richardson's meticulous approach to documenting medical fraud has revolutionized how we investigate systematic patient abuse, explained FBI Healthcare Fraud Director Sarah Kim during a congressional hearing on medical fraud prevention. His techniques have helped us identify and prosecute dozens of similar schemes. The case had also influenced federal legislation addressing healthcare fraud, targeting elderly populations. The Senior Healthcare Protection Act passed by Congress included provisions specifically inspired by Samuel's experience, creating enhanced penalties for medical professionals who systematically abuse elderly patients. Samuel's case demonstrated that elderly patients are particularly vulnerable to sophisticated medical fraud, explained Senator Patricia Williams, who sponsored the federal legislation. We needed stronger protections and penalties specifically designed to protect our senior citizens. Insurance companies had invested millions of dollars in developing fraud detection systems based on patterns Samuel identified during his investigation. The Richardson Pattern Recognition System used artificial intelligence to monitor treatment patterns and alert authorities to potential systematic patient abuse. Samuel's case taught us that systematic medical fraud creates detectable patterns when examined properly, explained healthcare insurance analyst Dr. Jennifer Walsh. His investigation techniques have been automated to protect millions of patients. Academic institutions continued studying Samuel's case as an example of how individual advocacy can create systemic change in healthcare protection. Medical schools, law schools, and healthcare administration programs required students to analyze his investigation as part of their ethics and fraud prevention curricula. The Richardson case represents a new model of patient empowerment, explained medical ethics professor Dr. Robert Chen at Johns Hopkins University. Samuel proved that patients can effectively challenge medical authority when equipped with proper investigation techniques. Consumer advocacy organizations had used Samuel's experience to create educational programs for elderly patients nationwide, teaching them to recognize signs of medical fraud and document suspicious treatment patterns. Samuel Richardson's story has empowered thousands of elderly patients to question inappropriate medical recommendations, explained Elder Rights Coalition Director Margaret Foster. His courage has prevented countless other cases of systematic healthcare fraud. The international impact of Samuel's case had reached healthcare fraud prevention programs in countries across Europe and Asia, with law enforcement agencies requesting consultation on investigating similar medical fraud schemes. Healthcare fraud targeting elderly populations is a global phenomenon, explained Interpol medical fraud analyst Maria Rodriguez. Samuel Richardson's investigation techniques are being adapted by healthcare fraud prevention programs worldwide. Today, Samuel Richardson lives peacefully in his Scottsdale home, protected by comprehensive healthcare advocacy services and served by ethical medical professionals who understand the importance of patient trust. At 65, he has transformed one of the most personal violations possible into a foundation for protecting other vulnerable patients from medical exploitation. The dental office where Dr. Michael Hartwell systematically damaged patients' teeth now houses a community health clinic that provides ethical dental care to elderly patients who cannot afford private treatment. The space that was used to exploit patient trust now serves as a center for rebuilding confidence in healthcare professionals. Dr. Hartwell thought my age and trust in medical authority made me an easy target, Samuel reflects. He assumed I would accept his diagnoses without question and continue paying for treatments indefinitely. But he underestimated what 30 years of business experience had taught me about recognizing systematic fraud patterns. Dr. Hartwell remains in federal prison serving his 18-year sentence with multiple appeals unsuccessful. His dental license was permanently revoked, and he faces lifetime prohibition from working in any healthcare-related field. The Richardson Foundation has recovered more than $15 million in settlements and donations, funding patient advocacy services and healthcare fraud prevention programs that have protected thousands of elderly patients from systematic medical abuse. Samuel's investigation techniques have become standard protocol for healthcare fraud prevention nationwide. Samuel Richardson proved that healthcare fraud victims can become healthcare fraud fighters, said FBI Director Patricia Chen during the Foundation's 5th anniversary celebration. His advocacy work has prevented more medical fraud than we'll ever be able to measure. But perhaps Samuel's greatest victory was personal, proving that age and trust don't have to mean vulnerability to exploitation. Dr. Hartwell's fraud taught me to verify medical recommendations systematically rather than accepting them automatically, Samuel concluded. But it didn't make me lose faith in healthcare professionals. I learned to work with ethical doctors who earn trust through transparency rather than demanding it through authority. Samuel's restored dental health represents more than just corrective treatment. It symbolizes the recovery of trust in medical relationships built on honesty rather than exploitation. His partnership with Dr. Chang and other ethical healthcare providers demonstrates that positive medical relationships can emerge from negative experiences when patients are empowered to advocate for themselves. The story of Samuel Richardson proves that healthcare fraud can be defeated when patients approach suspicious medical recommendations with systematic investigation rather than automatic acceptance. When faced with medical exploitation, victims can choose to become advocates who protect others from similar violations while rebuilding trust in ethical healthcare relationships. Samuel's teeth have been completely restored to excellent health, but more importantly, his experience has restored confidence for thousands of elderly patients who now understand they can challenge medical authority when treatment recommendations don't make sense. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, trust healthcare professionals who earn credibility through transparency and always seek second opinions when treatment recommendations seem excessive or suspicious. As I finish telling you Samuel Richardson's story, I want you to understand something that should concern every person who trusts healthcare professionals with their well-being. Samuel's experience represents a growing epidemic of medical fraud targeting elderly patients that experts say is vastly underreported and increasingly sophisticated. Every month since Samuel's case became public, I received dozens of messages from viewers sharing similar experiences. Dentists who always find new problems requiring expensive treatment. Doctors who recommend increasingly aggressive procedures for conditions that were previously stable. Healthcare providers who seem more interested in billing than healing. What makes Samuel's story remarkable isn't that Dr. Hartwell was committing medical fraud. It's that Samuel had the business experience and determination to investigate systematically when something felt wrong. Most medical fraud victims never realize they're being exploited, and those who do rarely have the resources to fight back effectively. Samuel Richardson's investigation skills were exceptional, explains Dr. Jennifer Walsh, who researches healthcare fraud. Most patients don't have the business background or analytical training to recognize systematic medical exploitation the way Samuel did. But Samuel's story teaches lessons that any patient can apply. The importance of questioning medical recommendations that seem excessive or inconsistent with previous healthcare experiences. The value of seeking second opinions when treatment costs escalate dramatically. The power of systematic documentation when challenging medical authority. Consider how Dr. Hartwell's scheme operated over 5 years before Samuel exposed it. The dentist had perfected techniques for creating dental problems that appeared natural while generating maximum treatment revenue. His fraud was sophisticated enough to avoid detection by insurance companies, regulatory authorities, and dozens of intelligent patients. Medical fraud targeting elderly patients has become extremely sophisticated, explains FBI Healthcare Fraud Director Sarah Kim. Criminals like Dr. Hartwell understand how to exploit patients' trust in medical authority while creating plausible explanations for unnecessary treatments. The financial incentives driving medical fraud continue increasing as healthcare costs rise and regulatory oversight struggles to keep pace with criminal innovation. Samuel's case revealed that a single fraudulent practitioner could generate millions in legal revenue while maintaining the appearance of legitimate medical practice. Dr. Hartwell made $2.8 million exploiting elderly patients over 5 years, notes federal prosecutor James Rodriguez. That kind of profit potential attracts criminals who might not otherwise engage in healthcare fraud. The psychological impact of medical fraud extends far beyond financial losses. Victims like Samuel experience profound violation of trust in relationships that are supposed to heal rather than harm. The recovery process requires not just corrective treatment, but rebuilding confidence in healthcare relationships. Medical fraud victims often develop anxiety about seeking healthcare, explains trauma counselor Dr. Patricia Martinez. They've been betrayed by professionals they trusted with their most vulnerable needs. Samuel's systematic approach to fighting Dr. Hartwell's fraud created a template that other victims can follow, but it also revealed how much individual advocacy is required to challenge medical authority effectively. Samuel had to become a healthcare fraud investigator to protect himself, observes patient rights advocate Margaret Foster. Most elderly patients shouldn't have to develop FBI-level investigation skills to receive ethical medical care. The regulatory changes inspired by Samuel's case have strengthened patient protections, but enforcement remains challenging. Healthcare fraud schemes continue evolving to avoid detection while exploiting elderly patients' trust and financial resources. We're fighting an arms race against increasingly sophisticated medical fraud, explains Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners Director Michael Torres. Samuel's case taught us about criminal techniques we hadn't previously understood. The most important lesson from Samuel Richardson's experience isn't about dental fraud specifically. It's about the necessity of systematic skepticism when healthcare recommendations seem inconsistent with previous experiences or medical knowledge. Samuel's 60 years of excellent dental health provided him with a baseline for recognizing that Dr. Hartwell's diagnoses didn't make sense. Patients with less stable health histories might have more difficulty identifying systematic medical exploitation. Samuel's case demonstrates the importance of maintaining your own healthcare records and understanding your medical history, explains healthcare advocate Dr. Robert Chen. Patients who know their health patterns are better equipped to recognize inappropriate treatment recommendations. The foundation Samuel established continues growing as more medical fraud victims discover they're not alone in their experiences. The support network he created provides both practical assistance and emotional validation for people whose trust has been violated by healthcare professionals. Samuel showed us that medical fraud victims can become medical fraud fighters, says Foundation coordinator Thomas Chen, himself a Dr. Hartwell victim. His example gave us courage to challenge other unethical healthcare providers. As healthcare becomes more expensive and complex, the potential for systematic patient exploitation will likely increase. But Samuel's story provides hope that informed patients can protect themselves and others through systematic advocacy and refusal to accept medical authority without verification. The most valuable lesson from Samuel Richardson's experience is that healthcare trust should be earned through transparency and consistency rather than granted automatically through professional credentials. When medical recommendations don't make sense, patients have not just the right, but the responsibility to investigate and challenge. Samuel transformed his medical exploitation into medical advocacy, but every patient can apply his systematic approach to protecting their own healthcare interests. Trust medical professionals who welcome questions, provide clear explanations, and demonstrate consistency between diagnoses and treatment recommendations. Remember, your health is too important to trust blindly, and systematic skepticism can protect you from the kind of exploitation that Samuel survived and ultimately defeated.